Hello and welcome everyone to our latest Agile Boston podcast. I am here with the fantastic Al Shalloway, founder and CEO of Success Engineering and a thought leader in Scrum, Safe, and Disciplined Agile who has learned to move beyond them. And on February 26th at noon, Wednesday, in our next Agile Boston virtual meetup, Al is going to be presenting the future of Agile and the changing role of the Agile coach.
You know, it's funny. I've had my work be called fantastic, but I've never been called fantastic before.
It's
Some
always
people.
the first. So, Al, thank you so much for accepting our invitation to present in our next Agile Boston meetup. Um, I know that you're a good friend of Daniel Mezek. You guys have worked together for a long time, and you have so much industry knowledge and experience. We're all going to benefit greatly from your presentation. I guess I want to start with just getting people to know you a little bit. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Well, I've been in software for about 24 years now. When I got to college, I started programming, was in technical, I mean, one of these heavy programmers until I became a consultant in programming in the late 90s. And I formed net objectives in 99. And for 20 years, we did technical training and coaching and process. And came up with a couple of systems. I had some great consultants working for me, and I learned how did they do it. It was like a distillation of what great consultants did. I take pride that I was maybe the fourth or fifth best consultant in my own company. And I learned, and I went to conferences and I learned. So what got me interested in this has always been how people can get better. I've been a kind of a lifelong learner, getting better myself. How can I impart that to other people? And I've always seen the limitations of the methods, whatever they are. You know, I did XP, Scrum, patterns, safe, and I'll admit, perhaps I've been too negative on the limitations. I get carried away at times. So when I went to the PMI, they took the system I had and I wrote the Discipline Agile Value Stream Consultant Workshop. And it was focused on not only what do you do, but how's the consultant help do it? But it didn't go far enough. And when I left the PMI 3.5 years ago, I guess now, or a little more than 3 years, I asked myself, doing it over, what should we really be looking at? And that's what I've been doing the last 3 years at Success Engineering. And it's how do you make a system that gives you a starting point, but lets you keep going? And this doesn't require my approach. That's Amplio, but you could do this with any number of things. But what are the issues involved? And that's what I'm interested in. How can people empower themselves? And how can they learn to move forward and do critical thinking? And that's what's driving me. How do we get better critical thinking?
Yeah, and I think it's very important and healthy actually to challenge the status quo a little bit and really always take a step back and review and say, is this working? And can it be better? And how could it be better? So I applaud you in the work that you're doing. And I'm wondering, the topic that you have here, the future of Agile and the changing role of the Agile coach, it's very much aligned to our last Give Thanks for Scrum event we just had in November of 2024, where the theme was the future of Scrum with a question mark. So that's very fortunate for us that you're kind of thinking along the same line. So can you tell us a little bit about how this topic came about in your head?
Yeah, I having been in the field for as long as I have and knowing some people who are in it 10, 20 years longer than me even. I followed Jerry Weinberg for a long time, and Tom Gill, who's got at least 10 years or more. I have never seen so much change taking place at the same time. In other words, we have AI, we have the rise of TOC and flow, the project to product. We have the all of a sudden the demand for scrum masters is going down, or at least the ratio between who's available and how much is needed. You have four or five things, a confluence of all this stuff coming together. So I think this is both scary and is also both an opportunistic time. Thoreau said, now like all times, is a good time, but you have to know what to do.
Mm,
And we need to step back. So, yeah, a lot of people are going to lose their jobs. There's no question, but a lot of people aren't. And the changing role of Scrum is very relevant because I think we need to expand. We know more. Scrum started when we didn't really know, we knew it worked. We didn't know why Agile worked. And then with lean and flow and theory constraints, now a lot of us know why it works. I'm not alone in this. Lots and lots of people. Don Reinertson wrote a book 15 years ago explaining a lot about this. So, what I want to do is give some clear thinking on not the future. I'm what I call, I don't see the future well. Like Mark Twain says, predictions are difficult, especially when it's about the future. So
future.
I'm not going to make a prediction, but what I'm going to say is there are things like artificial intelligence is raising the bar in some ways. And if you're not above that bar, you're not going to have a job. So
Mm,
how do you get above that job? How do you get above that bar? And what does it take to do that? And what would make an agile coach more attractive? And I have some interesting ideas here that I have applied, and I've seen other people that apply, but are not part of the agile mindset in a general. It doesn't violate agile mindset. It's just a question of what's the role of the coach. And I
yeah.
think they need to be more proactive, more deeper knowledge, and make the teams and the management's life easier. You need to know more. You don't tell them what to do. That doesn't work either for any number of reasons. But you need to be a better guide. Like if they're in the dark, you need a flashlight.
Mhm.
We don't talk about that a lot in the agile space. We think, oh, we got to have simple things to do. No, simple is in the eye of the beholder. The people using a system, it should be simple to them. You may, to make it simple to them, may need to have a more complex understanding of things. And that takes more skill, that takes more knowledge. And that's what I think the new role is. But how it's all going to take shape, well, I don't really know. I've been thinking this for a long time. And like I say, my predictions aren't always right,
Yeah.
but it'll be thoughtful.
No, and I think you're aligned with so many of the podcasts that I had last year. Martin Hinshelwood comes to mind, where he talked
Yeah,
about it, that you can't just be coming in there explaining Scrum and leaving. You have to be an asset to the team. You have to dive into the technology. You have to spend the time to understand the business to be able to really help the
right.
team and move them forward to be valuable to the team, and then they'll listen to you a lot more. So I think what you're saying is very much aligned with that. So tell us what we can expect to learn as we come out of your talk.
Yeah. Well, one thing is, I think how to make yourself more attractive as in the role of the coach. And I don't mean branding, I mean what you have to know to be more attractive. What's the benefits you provide? I think you have to integrate how to coach with what the concepts you're saying. One of the things that has astounded me, I'll admit, is Agile's about people, right? But look
Mhm.
at all the workshops out there that just talk about what to do. They say, oh, well, here's how you be, but they don't talk about how people automatically react to things. So, how to coach needs to be integrated with what you're learning to convey to people. And there are ways to learn this. So, I'll talk about that a little bit. Why you need theory with experience. Theory has been mislabeled. The plan is not a theory. That's a plan.
Right.
And you could say, well, it's a theory to see if it works. Okay, well, that's not what I mean. I mean theory like multitasking is bad. Delays cause multitasking, or multitasking causes delays. There are principles you need to know. And I'm not going to go through them, don't have time, but that you need theory and why. And then finally, why coaches need support systems. And I don't just mean a community, I mean literally a list of not to follow. You don't follow a list, but to remind you, have I addressed this? Oh, have I addressed this? So the list won't tell you what to do, but it'll remind you, you better have paid attention to this. And I learned this the hard way, that last one. As an experienced coach, as an experienced consultant, I would always forget stuff to do. I don't know why. I mean, I knew to do it. I did it every time, but at the moment with the pressure and wondering what's going on, I'd forget. So
Mhm.
I started making lists for myself. And that kind of system is really, really, really helpful. So those are the four main things I'm looking at conveying in terms of actions, because you could take and learn and get better right away from that.
That's fantastic. And that's what we always try to bring to our community, things that they can take away and apply the very next day or even the same day
Yeah.
um, to make their lives better and the people around them better. So, Al, thank you very, very much
Well,
for
thanks for
accepting
having
the
me.
invitation. We look forward to hearing your presentation. That is again on Wednesday, February 26th, starting at noon Eastern. And that is our February virtual meetup for Agile Boston. So until then, Al, we'll look forward to seeing you. And for everyone else, we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Take care.